not going to ask anyone to shimmy. Before I start, can somebody read what says on the ceiling to me? Has anyone noticed that the theme of today was true to what the stage is talking about? And to that. So, I'm Samiya Parvez, and
I'm Naveed Parvez. We're the founders of Andiamo.
So we started Andiamo 3 years ago out of our experience. I want to tell you a little bit about our company and where we come from, and then take you through the journey of where we are right now. Diamo is a health technology company. We take 3D body data and turn that into disabled children's equipment using 3D scanning and 3D printing. We would like to reduce the waiting hour for the kids to get their equipment from months, that could take 6 months, to 1 week. And that is our mission. And how we started that is through our son Diamo, who was born in 2003 with cerebral palsy. He was severely disabled. He had severe developmental delay. He couldn't communicate. He was quadriplegic. So needed a 24-hour care by an adult. And that wasn't really the problem. The problem was us trying to do that for him because everything depended on his orthosis and orthotics appointment. It was all depending on when was the next orthosis, are we going to get it this time, is it going to fit? For the ones who get confused between what an orthosis is and what is a prosthetic, orthoses are devices that support the limb, so back braces, hand splints, ankle foot orthotics, neck braces for when you have a sore neck, even cranial caps, and for burn victims, even face masks. All of these are body supports, so they're not replacing a limb, they're supporting it to keep it in good posture. And the way you get it is by having plaster of Paris covering that part of the body, waiting for that to dry. Now you could imagine me trying to sit on my boy waiting for that thing to dry. Have you ever tried to make a child not move, even a quadriplegic one? It was not fun. And then after it's dried, it's taken away from the clinic, and you don't see it back until 3 months or 6 months later, by which point your boy has grown out of it before he got it. So that was a very fun process. Everything depended on that orthosis arriving in time. For example, because Diamo had scoliosis, he needed the back brace. And the other thing was, because he had very, very poor head control, he was unable to keep himself upright. So putting him on a chair, what ended up happening, he would slip off it. I'd be walking down the road with him, just to a shop or whatever, and people would be pointing at me, and I'll be like, yeah, I've got a disabled child, what's your problem? No, the problem was his feet was on the ground because he had slipped off the chair, and they're trying to tell me that your boy is coming off his seat, what are you doing? So without his back brace, I wouldn't be able to put him in his chair, which meant I couldn't send him to school, which meant I would have to stay at home waiting for that thing to arrive, and the whole family would be housebound. I couldn't buy him shoes because I would wait for his ankle foot orthotic to arrive, and obviously I needed to fit it into that. So a lot of things as a family just broke down because we were still waiting for this thing to arrive. And the best part was, when it arrived, it didn't fit anyway, so they would have to take it again and would have to do the whole process again. So yeah, that was not fun. We were in a position where I just got tired of what was happening, and I started to do my research. 3D printing at the time wasn't there. You saw a few articles about it and a few videos about it, and I threatened you that if you brought one of those machines at home, I'm going to break it. Wasn't going to have any more dust collectors in the house. And unfortunately, Diamo passed away almost 4 years ago now. And a year after he died, Naveed went to was invited to a tech conference, and it was actually held in this place. So going back to where we started, And in that tech conference, it's called MonkeyGram. There was a guy, it's actually 2013, not 2014, that was incorrect. There was a guy on stage, and he was talking about how he uses 3D scanning to take pictures and model of automobiles, and specifically old steam trains. That was his hobby. And what he does is he does educational toolbox for young kids. And the thing that struck Naveed on that night, I was back home, by the way, nursing a 3-week-old baby. He was enjoying beer and cheese at the conference. And this guy was basically talking about how the scanning was so accurate that they were able to print a one-to-one replica of a broken latch of that train. And the pictures on the other side, I don't know if you can see the wording, but that was his ideas firing up, saying, why are we not doing this in health? And isn't the NHS going to pick up some of this, because the accuracy is so amazing, and can we bring it into health and use it to help the disabled children? And yeah, he decided to have a business idea whilst I was asleep. So after this, we talked about how this could change everything. The realization that we didn't have to go through the pain that we went through with our child, and something could happen, we could actually make a change, just hit us. Before Naveed left the conference, he sat down with James Governor, who was running the conference, and he said to him, listen, I'm going to come back to you in 2 years' time, and I want to talk about how 3D printing and 3D scanning can change children's lives. And James basically sat on his head and said, no, you're coming back in 1 year, and you're going to present with a prototype. And true to our words, we came back with a prototype after 1 year into that conference where the idea was born, and we presented 2 prototypes. Once we've done that, we were very excited, but then that brought in other questions. Yes, you can 3D scan, and yes, you can 3D print, and it's so accurate and so fantastic, but how do you deliver? And that was the pain point. And we realized that digging down, there were 2 massive core problems in the way things are running at the moment. So when we started, we thought it was a manufacturing problem. And then digging down, we realized the demand capacity gap is growing so big. There are less than 200 orthotists, I'll say less than 300 orthotists in the UK, serving 2 million people who are going through the NHS service needing an orthosis. Do the maths, it's just not going to happen. This number is growing by 6% compound annual growth. So when are we going to catch up? Kids with long-term disability and health problems are living longer because we have really, really good health system. People needing orthosis due to cancer care, after cancer care, if they've got diabetes. So the numbers are only going to grow, but the capacity to serve them is just getting smaller because nobody's taking up into being an orthotist, and they're retiring faster than they're being trained. The other problem that we found was there was a massive gap between the evidence of what works and why is it actually working. Nobody knew how things actually, why was it happening? So if you had a back brace, why is it working for you and not for the other person, and how can we replicate that? And then we realized that there's 100 million people worldwide who are needing the service. We're talking America, Canada, and the underdeveloped nations as well. So it's not just here in Europe, it's everywhere. How can we deliver a service to all of these people? and get them the level of authenticity and things that work, and how can we help them? So this is where we kind of realize that, yeah, we are pretty much screwed. And realizing that, I mean, we were just, two parents of a disabled child, and it was like, okay, so let's go and talk to the expert, because they're going to know what to do. And we tried to engage with them, and everybody patted us on the back and said we're fantastic, but we're doomed to fail, because they just couldn't understand how we could take this into the next level. I want to pass on to Naveed, and I'll just need you to look at this for a moment and understand what I'm trying to talk about. So you can have the ingredient, but how do you deliver?
I'm the beer and cheese guy. Hi. So this was the kind of point where we realized, great, there's all these experts, there's all these pieces. What there isn't is anyone who knows how the hell to put them together. How do you deliver this? And what we realized, so if anyone here has worked for a startup or done a small project, what you do not do is try and do everything. It is the stupidest thing to do, right? Read every single book, don't do it. What we realized was everything was broken, all of it. There wasn't a single piece that worked. And so what? Okay, great, I'm going to throw some technology in the middle. Who cares? The rest of it's broken. It was going to make no impact. We had to make the choice to go from, how do we impact maybe a few hundred people, and if we're lucky, maybe a few thousand, to that 100 million. We had to become obsessed with everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything from material science, how 3D printers work, health economic models, why people get paid, why people have surgery, how doctors are trained, health economic models in Europe, and on and on and on. And if we didn't, we weren't going to make a difference. And we had to build a company and a team to make that possible. And the way we did that, going back to Yoda, is we went to the experts, and they were all brilliant at what the bit that they do. And they all told us we were going to fail. And the dynamic when you speak to experts is, especially when you're two parents and you're not an expert, is you've got to listen to them. You've got to do what they tell you to do. And we weren't getting anywhere. And we had to become the antagonist. We had to become abrasive. We weren't going to be diplomatic and kind of bow to them and go, gosh, yes, you're absolutely right. Of course we're going to fail. Let's all just go home and not bother. We had to get abrasive. We had to become the antagonist. In some cases, we had to get aggressive. But, and this is the key bit, we had to collaborate at the same time. We had to be abrasive, but bring them along on that journey. They had to be with us to solve those problems. We couldn't just be an arsehole. We had to be quite nice arseholes. And that led to this. Now, on the face of it, that's a relatively simple-sounding mission. Not when it's for 100 million people per year. Not when you want to get to every single one of them within 1 week of their need, no matter where they are. Now, automatic assumption when we talk about this is people go, oh, you're talking about Zimbabwe, or you're talking about Papua New Guinea, or China, or India. Yeah, we're talking about those places, but we're talking about America, and we're talking about Canada. The majority of people who contact us are actually from Europe and North America. But how do we get that level of service to absolutely everyone? How do we build that? Now, again, everyone assumed it was all about technology. That's the shiny stuff. That comes later. It was simple stuff. It was starting in our lounge. We had to turn our lounge into a clinic. We had to work with the families to understand what they needed and what they wanted. It was a realization that we had had healthcare done to us, not with us. No one had ever asked us what we wanted or what we needed. It was simple. Start with the families. Start with the children. Get that right. The rest with technology, okay, now we're talking about scaling, but that's the bit that's really important. And this is where we are 3.5 years later. We have created things that are supposedly impossible. We are the world experts in this area. Google rang us up for advice. That's when it kind of hit home that we're a lot further ahead than we had realized. We have cut the wait time from 6 months down. At the moment, we average about 2 weeks. We'll be down to a week within the next 2 years. Our aim is 48 hours. We want to show you something, what this actually means. Because again, people, yes, they're beautiful. And by the way, just because you've got a long-term condition doesn't mean like you should always look like you've just walked out of a hospital. And I want to show you something about what that actually means. Can we play the video? This is Racer, and she's one of our test pilots.
You're not seeing that. Oh, I'm going back. I'm going back. Yeah, because originally ground reactions were made for paleo patients, right? And they were made to lock them in hyperextension to give them stability so they didn't collapse. So you were seeing original ground reactions and AFOs were giving them all hyperextension form. And also, you lose a ground reaction as soon as
I'll just do it my way, mate.
So that's much easier than the last time, isn't it?
Oh, so much easier. You don't even understand.
you've got to get it through the hole.
Okay. I just have to use this.
There we go. That's it.
Oh, that's so much easier. You don't even understand. This is so fun! I never thought walking could be fun! This is too cool.
That is a major improvement.
There's so much light.
Do you remember the Rise go again?
Alright,
Joe,
alright, calm down, mate.
Chop. That's really nice. Because when I first saw her walk, she was at Sam's house, in the living room, in the kitchen, she was like, I just went, I really don't think you're going to get much.
And I'm actually walking faster in this.
How much did you normally go around pricing?
I go around slower.
Right, and stop, operator. Stop. Right, what I want you to do, if you can take a step back into the room.
Yeah.
Backwards walking.
Backwards.
Come on, right, we practice.
Right.
Shut up!
Can we go back to the slides? Oh, it was inserted, great. Okay, let's finish up. We're not the next Steve Jobs or Elon Musk, right? We're two parents. We haven't done this by being geniuses. I've genuinely been privileged to be sitting in the audience today. you can replace that word empathy with pain and anger. Here's what I want you to go away with today. Everyone talks about pain and anger like it's a negative thing. It's a bad thing, shouldn't have it. No. Take it. Find it in you and your communities and the people you work with. Use it to tell their story. Use it to find that empathy. It is too late for 5% better, 10% better. We only do 500% better. Go and find that. It's not a technical thing, it's here and it's there. Go make that radical disruption. Thank you.